7 weapons Ukraine transferred to Russia under pressure from the West. In the 1990s, Ukraine had plenty of weapons. It had huge stockpiles, left over from the Soviet era. It had a sizable nuclear arsenal too, but the West was worried about stability. The US pressured Ukraine to get rid of the nukes. Bill Clinton paid 2 visits to Kiev to push the deal. Ukraine agreed to give up the nukes. In exchange, the US, Britain, and Russia guaranteed its safety. In the early 2000s, a new deal was imposed on Ukraine. Senator Barack Obama visited Donetsk in 2005. He lobbied for a $48 million package to destroy more stockpiles.
Vast stocks of conventional munitions and military supplies have accumulated in Ukraine.
He said,
"We need to eliminate these stockpiles for the safety of the Ukrainian people and people around the world."
In 2014, Russia attacked Ukraine and annexed Crimea. President Obama refused to deliver arms to Ukraine, but it gets even worse. Many of the weapons were not actually destroyed. They were transferred to Russia in payment for natural gas. These arms for gas deals were approved by the West. So what exactly did Ukraine give up? Nuclear-armed missiles. 1. RS-18. 2. RD-23. Ukraine held the third-largest nuclear arsenal in the world. It also had facilities for designing and producing ICBMs. In 1994, Kiev agreed to get rid of them. In total, there were around 1,700 nuclear warheads. Ukraine had 2 types: intercontinental ballistic missiles, 130 RS-18 with 6 warheads each, and 46 RT-23 Moloteds with 10 warheads each. All of them were transferred to Russia. The RS-18, aka the UR-100N, was introduced in 1975. It's a 2-stage liquid fuel missile with a range of 6,600 miles. 111 RS-18 missiles were dismantled. 19 were handed over to Russia. The RD-23 is a solid fuel ICBM that was produced in Ukraine. It was fairly new. The missile only entered service in 1987. Russia decommissioned its last RD-23s in 2005. Strategic bombers. 3. Tu-22M. 4. Tu-95MS. 5. Tu-160. Ukraine has no heavy bombers today, but in the 1990s, it operated 3 types of bombers. The most numerous was the Tu-22M. Ukraine had 17 Tu-22M2s and 43 Tu-22M3s. The last of them was scrapped in 2006. This was done under the Nunn-Lugar Cooperative Threat Reduction. The CRT was the scrapping program touted by Senator Obama. Russia still flies Tu-22Ms, using them to strike Ukraine. Russian Tu-22Ms are Soviet leftovers. Ukraine did not transfer these aircraft to Russia, but it did transfer some of its Tu-95MS bombers. Ukraine had between 23 and 29 Tu-95MS aircraft. They're used as a launching platform for cruise missiles. In 2000, Ukraine gave Tu-95s to Russia. The rest were scrapped. Russia has used these planes to strike Ukraine as well. Finally, Ukraine had 19 Tu-160 bombers. In 1999, it handed 8 of them over to Russia, scrapping the rest. Russia likewise uses them to launch missiles against Ukraine. Missiles: 6 Kh-55, 7 Kh-22. Ukraine decommissioned all of its cruise missiles. Both types are air-launched and require heavy bombers. Most of the missiles were transferred to Russia. The shipments included 575 Kh-55s and 386 Kh-22s. Russia has used both types frequently in the war against Ukraine. The Kh-55, called Kh-101 after upgrades, has a high rate of failure. In December 2022, one diverted and crashed in Poland. The Kh-22 is much worse. It had never been used in combat before 2022. It's an anti-ship cruise missile, originally designed as a carrier killer. That means it's very heavy and very imprecise. It's also impossible to intercept. The Kh-22 struck a shopping mall in Kremenchuk in June 2022. 21 people were killed and 59 were maimed. Days later, another Kh-22 demolished a 9-story apartment block in Serhievka. It killed 21 and wounded 39 people. In January 2023, a Kh-22 hit an apartment building in Dnipro. 44 people were killed and 73 were wounded. Sadly, this list goes on and on.
I feel a personal stake because I got Ukraine to agree to give up their nuclear weapons. I feel terrible about it because Ukraine is a very important country.
Bill Clinton, 2023.